Destination, Dixon's To The Point Charters.
Setting destination.
Hi, I'm Conway Bowman, and this week on The Outfitters, I've brought the Ford F-150 with EcoBoost to Montauk to fish with Captain Paul Dixon of To The Point Charters. Okay. Montauk is known for its legendary striper and false albacore run, and I'm here at prime time.
There it is. Nice.
Behind the unforgettable adventure. Behind that trophy of a lifetime.
Oh my God!
There's an outfitter who makes it all happen. Join our dream team of veteran hunters and anglers crisscrossing North America to find the hardest working men and women in the outdoors. This is The Outfitters.
What I always heard about Montauk and the Hamptons and Long Island is it was a very high-end, very exclusive place of luxury, which it is. However, this is one of the finest saltwater fisheries anywhere on the planet.
I moved out east from Newport Beach in the early 80s, and I'd always been a fly fisherman and a fisherman and everything else, but mostly fly fishing, and that was my passion. So when I came east, I literally had preconceived notions that it was an industrial wasteland. And then when I came out here, I was astounded by the beauty of Montauk.
So Paul, you've got a whole operation you've got to set up here in the fall, right, for the striper fishery? Do you change your boats out?
Yeah, what happens is in the spring and stuff, we're doing the sight fishing for the stripers. So we use a skiff and we actually pole it.
Got it.
And then later in the summer, what happens is the fishery changes and the blitzes start at Montauk, the false albacore show up, the bass, and they all start migrating. And so we switch to my bigger boat.
And that's what we're doing right now. We're going to get this big boat and dump it in.
Exactly.
So Paul, first of all, just a great guy. And I've known of Paul for many, many years, being in the fly fishing industry. And I met him many times at the fly fishing shows, and we do share mutual friends. But I've never, ever fished with Paul, and I've always wanted to do that. I mean, I'm talking for 20 years.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go out, we're gonna check for the false albacore. We're gonna go to Outer Shagwan, which is one of the points.
Okay.
And we got an outgoing tide, and the bait's gonna be going off the north side, going out.
Paul's reputation as sort of a premier striper guide, you don't get any more premier than that. I mean, he was the guy who really started the fly fishing for stripers on Montauk back in the early 90s. And it's really cool to be dialed in with a guy like that. But you know, Paul started something that now, I mean, you have, I don't know how many people come to Montauk to target these fish in the fall. So it's great to be on a boat with somebody who started that. Got him.
Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. I'm the blind.
I worked for the Orvis Company for years, and then I ended up starting my own fly shop out here. And I started a charter service at the same time, so I wouldn't have to, you know, spend the whole time in the store.
Oh, doctor.
Yeah, baby.
And the charter service actually took off. And what we discovered is that we could sight fish for the striped bass.
Captain Paul Dixon. Holy crime,
Nice
look at
fish.
that guy. Mwah. That is a slug.
Okay, good job. Let's go get another. And that turned into a tremendous business. And then at the same time, I discovered that when I ran one day looking for false albacore, that all these bass blitzes were going on off the tip of Montauk.
Looking good, Conway. This is a Montauk Blitz there.
So the style of fishing we're doing here off Montauk for stripers is not your typical fly fishing.
Good.
Not even your typical saltwater fly fishing,
There's a hookup.
where you're sight casting to fish in shallow water. This is open water, oftentimes rougher water.
Nice!
Yeah, baby.
Look at those fish. Isn't that
Wow,
wild?
that is incredible, Paul. Jeez. Oh my God. Ah, he's off.
Throw it again.
So what happens is the stripers come up on the surface and they're chasing bay anchovies on the surface, and they're getting into this just mad froth. It's just crazy. You're running the boat into position.
Okay, hold on, Conway, and I'll slide the boat. Okay,
The boat goes into neutral, and the angler makes the cast into the fish in strips.
good.
It's chaotic, it's crazy, and there are a lot of things that are going on that have to kind of come together to be successful in catching this fish.
There you go.
So when you're casting off the bow, a lot of times you're stepping on your line.
Nice.
Yeah, hello. Hello, Mr. Striper. Whoa. So it is crazy, and I've never really done this sort of fishing before. And I'll tell you, it's intense. You've got to be very focused. You have to have a great captain like Paul to be successful.
You're gonna wimp out on me, are you, Conway? Oh, you're not tiring on me, are you?
Oh no, not me.
You're a young stud that works out.
Yeah. Before I had a 3-year-old, before I had a kid, I used to work out all the time. And I can feel it already. It's one of those things, once you do it.
No, he might be a good one, so we'll take our time. We got all the time in the world. Until the next Blitz comes.
Oh man, there he goes. Holy moly, look at that. You're gonna be back here every year doing it again, because it is like rock'em sock'em fly fishing. It's really cool. And I think everybody needs to do this just to check it out.
Yeah! That's a fish.
Oh my goodness.
That's a beauty. Let's get the. Wow.
God, look at that.
You know, it's been a passion that's really paid off, and it's fun. I mean, if it wasn't fun, you wouldn't do it, you know, but it's the camaraderie. There's some great guides out here.
That's a beauty. That's a good, probably 15, 17 pounder.
It's a fishing culture. So Montauk is, there's no place like it in the world.
I think I need a new hook. That's what stripers do to clouds and minnows.
The Outfitters is brought to you by the 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost.
So I'm in Montauk, and it's all the way at the end of Long Island, and we're at the tip. What makes Paul a great outfitter is his sharing of information, first of all. Secondly, he's a great guy.
It's interesting because when I first started this, the fly fishing was, you know, just sort of in its infancy in the Northeast and stuff. And the false albacore was this sort of mystery fish that everybody wanted to catch. And it was perfect for the fly. Right. And then when we discovered that the bass would come up and blitz and be on the surface churning the water, that became perfect for the fly because the bait is only 2 inches long. So the fly is actually much more effective than the spinning even.
He's articulate, he's organized. I mean, he's running probably 10 guides that he's, you know, coordinating trips, and he's on the phone, and he's paying attention to those clients that are calling in. But I think what really ultimately makes an outfitter very successful are the people skills, and Paul has those in spades.
So Conway, if we look at the navigation system here, you can see right where we are here at Camp Hero.
So you get to the spot as we are, get out of the truck, walk out and check it out, and then you can probably even see some of your captains down there fishing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it really helps us in determining where the fish are. It explains everything basically. It gives us a whole new way of fishing these areas and going to the exact spot where the fish are going at the right time.
Right, and you're not wasting a bunch of time driving around.
Exactly. So if you're unfamiliar with the area, it makes it so simple.
So Paul, you come up to this spot to look for fish?
Exactly. The number one thing that we use this for is that we want to be able to check weather. In other words, if it's really bad over on the other side and we're going to have to come around and come through that, we want to make sure that there's fish here. Plus, it's a beautiful spot. It gives everybody a nice overview of what it is all about here in Montauk. When we first started out and everything, there wasn't anybody out here really. There was some fly fishermen doing the beach, a few surf guys, but nobody had really done a business.
Conway, get in right behind his boat. Don't throw it yet. Wait till I get up to it.
And so it was a very, very small community. But the fly fishing industry was catching on very quickly. A river runs through it, had just come out, and the saltwater fly fishing took off. So it's sort of being in the right place at the right time.
Good. Just go slow. There you go.
It's grown tremendously.
Nice job.
Now there's hundreds of boats out here, and you know, during the season, it can get crowded.
How we doing, Conway?
Good, man, good. I'm on the reel now, so.
Okay, cool.
But it's such a fishery that it's, you know, it's incredible.
Let me hold that sucker. Holy smokes.
But it's been a long time that we've been doing it, and you can see the change, you know, through the years of being, you know, the only boat.
There you go, brother.
Look at that, baby.
Nice, good job.
Montauk striper. Look
Right
at
there.
that. On the fly, fishing the fall blitz with Captain Paul Dixon.
The only boat to now being this whole community of guides that come from all over the country, and it's a lot of fun. It's turned into a great community.
It was off, man. That was cool. The reason I chose the Ford F-150 with EcoBoost for this striper adventure on Montauk is I wanted to show Paul the great features of this truck.
You know, I years ago had a truck, and it was when I was a kid, and it drove like a truck. And then I became an SUV guy because of kids and convenience and everything else, because of comfort. So when I got into this truck and started driving it around, I couldn't believe the luxury. You know, that it didn't drive like a truck, it drove like a really nice SUV. But at the same time, you know, it has great towing capacity, and then the navigation systems are unbelievable. You know, I can show people, a lot of times we'll get blown out, and so they have to go down the surf and fish the surf. So I can sit with the navigation system and say, here's where you are, here's where you want to be in this cove at this time. You know, so the truck has a whole new meaning. It's really cool. I enjoyed it. The best is when the fish spread out. There's plenty of room for everybody. It's when the fish get concentrated. It can be a bit sort of combat fishing is what we call it.
When the Outfitters returns, the Montauk faithful brace themselves against an all-out striper blitz.
The interesting thing about this, Conway, is that, you know, they call it combat fishing here, and in a sense it is, but it's only because the fish have gathered in one area. When they get spread out,
Right.
you know, and they're way out in the north rips, they're on the south side, then everybody eases off and you get to find your own thing.
Montauk is very unique in a sense because every fish that migrates up the coast and goes to Martha's Vineyard, to Maine, to Nantucket, to the Cape, has to hit Montauk on its way back south. So Montauk sits out at a very tip, and all the bait gathers off that point. And the bait that we get here that cause the blitzes are bay anchovies or rain bait. And they come in huge, huge schools, acres of them.
And just slow strip it, nice and easy.
So every fish that comes down the coast stops at Montauk.
Nice.
Yeah.
You're the man.
Yeah, baby. So fly fishing for stripers off Montauk is a circus. I mean, you've got, you know, 50 boats out there chasing these pods of stripers around, trying not to step on the line, trying to stay tight to the fish. Now I'm on the reel, okay. And these boats aren't, you know, 100 feet from you. They're like 5 feet from you. They're in front of you. They're cutting you off. It's crazy. I've never experienced anything like it. Oh, there he goes. He just saw the boat. That's a nice striper. Look at that. Ah, that's awesome. Look at that sucker.
Do not run and gun these fish. We're all trying to get on these fish. If we all start doing what you're gonna do, you're gonna get waked, we're getting waked. Just come around easy, don't run through them. What you're doing is you're running over the bait so they don't come up.
But that's kind of the cool thing about this fishery. It's not your typical sort of fly fishing where you're sight casting on some, you know, some flat in the middle of like the tropics. I mean, you're off of Montauk in the middle of fly fishing fall chaos, and it's cool.
Nice.
Oh, it's a fatty.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, you know it.
That's
that
a
was
good one.
awesome.
All right, buddy,
stuff.
go back.
And that's probably why they call it the
Nice.
fall blitz, because it's not only the fish that are blitzing, but it's all the boaters blitzing each other. It's crazy. So it's cool. I totally dug it.
All right, thank you.
So the cooler thing is people actually get along.
And everybody cooperates here in Montauk. That's what you have to do sometimes. They just don't know.
Yeah, these guys are actually applauding. That's cool. So the tackle setup for stripers is really simple. A 9-weight rod, intermediate line, fairly long leader, 9-foot leader, 10-foot leader, and fairly small flies because the stripers are chasing bay anchovies. So small bait, 9-weight, and intermediate line. And that's basically it. Very simple in terms of tackle, but very effective.
They're gonna go left, so they're coming at you, go ahead.
And a lot of this fishery, the key to hooking these fish is being tight to your line.
Nice. Get tight, these are big fish, real big fish.
And that's what most guys don't understand. It's the stripping and it's the technique. So what we do a lot is we've adopted under the arm strip from the surf casters because it keeps you tight to your line. You have constant contact with your fly and you don't strip it fast all the time. If it's in the fish where they're boiling, just get tight and go slow. They'll find it. So that's one of the techniques. Instead of doing one-handed, we double overhand. It's a very northeast type of strip.
Good job.
I think this is a good fish, Paul.
When you get some of these offshore blitzes, it brings up big fish because they're following the others. Look at that, see, that's a nice fish. Oh, it's a big fish, big fish.
It's tough. It's crazy, but when it comes together and it's successful, I mean, there's really nothing better.
Yeah, baby, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Look how fat he is.
Oh my gosh, look at that striper.
That's a nice one.
Oh my gosh.
You know, to me, you got to have the passion for the sport. You know, when we're off the water, well, you know, everybody says, "Oh, what do you like to do?" And it's like, well, I usually go fishing.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
You know, because I don't get the chance to fish.
You're the man.
And the other guides too. So we'll fish together. Most of my friends that I fish with are guides.
That's it, man, that was awesome. Okay, so I'm gonna get this guy back in because we got fish working all over the stern of the boat here.
Fly fishing is not an easy sport. You know, you've got to be into it and practice your game, just like golf or tennis.
Just get tight. There you go, good job.
Lost him again.
Go again.
You know, so it's the passion for the sport. If you don't have the passion for the sport and you're a guide, then something's wrong.
Go again, a lot of bait, and they're going the other way. They're going towards him. There you go, good, good. Just go real slow. Just get tight, there it is. Nice.
The really good guides, it's the passion. You know, we're all in it because there ain't no money in it, so you better enjoy it.
Okay, all right, that's what I'm talking about.
That is,
God dang!
wow, that is a fish. That is awesome, huh?
That is a pig.
That is a
brother. Oh my-
Montauk pig.
That is unbelievable.
That's a big fish for the blitzes.
Really?
Yeah, that's a good fish for these blitzes. But you get these offshore guys, let's get him back in the water. Oh, I knew that. Oh, we got the fly back. Yeah, baby.
The boys are just getting warmed up. More mayhem on Montauk when the Outfitters returns.
Oh, look at the size. Did you see that? Look at the fish. Look at the size of that fish right there.
That's the one on my line.
Is that your flying fish?
Yeah.
The interesting thing about right now is usually the albies show first, which they did last week. Conway must have brought the bass with him, but the albacore we've been struggling with. So I think today's plan is we're going to go out and look for the albacore because it's so beautiful and the weather is cooperating. So that's our game plan, is to get the albies.
Paul is a mentor, and he's been a mentor to probably most of the guys out here. Oftentimes, guys that start something, they'll hold it and they really want to, covet it, and they don't want to share their information. He's totally the opposite.
Hello, my little pretty.
These are fat. Look at how fat those
Yeah,
things are.
oh my God, look, he is stuffed. And you can see, weirdly enough, it looks like you can almost pick out the eels.
Wow, that guy.
See how he's got bumps in his stomach?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
come back!
And probably most of the guides that are here at the marina, he has taken them under his wing at some point. So we've got bluefish kind of boiling all over this place, little pods of them. So it wasn't really great for fly fishing because they're pretty far away from the boat. So I switched to the spinning outfit. I'm using a spoon, and it's been pretty effective. But he's a very giving guy. I mean, he's totally cool. There's no sort of ego there. Oh, there he is. I mean, how's that? A lot of guides aren't like that. And I think it boils down to Paul has nothing to prove.
Oh, it's a nice bass. Oh, you know, look at it. He's going to come off, though. Yeah, you got him barely hooked.
And that's why you get a captain like Paul Dixon. When a fish is barely hooked.
Got him. I've captured him. Yeah, you know, that's funny because you knew there was bass in there. There had to be, you know.
He's so solid with what he knows and what he does. He's got no problem passing on that information.
All right, buddy, go back in there. Bring your buddies.
Please.
Nice job.
And to have that, to see that, and to fish with a guy like that just really makes me just not only a better fisherman, but a better person.
There he is.
The striped bass is an interesting story. Years ago in the 70s, the striper was overfished commercially, recreational, everything else. You also had major pollution in a lot of the spawning areas, being the Chesapeake and the Hudson River.
Oh, look at the size. Did you see that? Look at the fish. Look at the size of that fish right there.
That's the one on my line.
Is that your flying fish?
Yeah.
Dude, that's a big fish.
So what happened was that they implemented laws that you couldn't fish them anymore because they found PCBs in them in the Hudson.
Whoa, hello.
So there was no longer commercial fishery. And within 10 years,
Holy moly.
the greatest success story in conservation was the recovery of the striped bass. It's a pleasure to fish with Conway. Plus, it's a great time.
I thought I couldn't get a bigger one than the 40-incher. Jeez Louise.
You know, we laugh a lot. You know, it's that brotherhood of the fish.
Montauk striper Blitz. That's what it's all about. Swam off perfectly.